Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to unroll a blueprint that's, believe it or not, over 2,000 years old. But its lines, you can still see them in the very structure of our world today. We're diving into the political thought of the ancient Greeks to see how their ideas laid the foundation for, well, almost everything, from our governments to the way we even argue about what society should be.
You know, the historian Sir Ernest Barker absolutely nailed it with this quote. But why? What is it about these ancient thinkers that feels so present, so now? In this explainer, we're going to unpack that exact question. We'll look at the revolutionary tools they invented, the society they tried to build, and the complicated, often contradictory, legacy they left for all of us.
So here's how we'll break it all down. First, we'll look at the Greek political blueprint itself. Then we'll see how it worked, or didn't, inside the Polis, their city-state. After that, we'll get real and examine the cracks in the marble, the huge gap between their ideals and their reality. And finally, we'll trace their incredible, enduring legacy right up to today.
All right, let's jump into part one, the Greek political blueprint. So what made their way of thinking so completely different? Well, while most other ancient societies were basing their rules on religion or just strict, unquestioned tradition, the Greeks came up with a totally new toolkit for understanding the world. It all kind of boils down to three huge ideas. First, they believed the world wasn't just random chaos from the gods. They saw it as a cosmos, an ordered place with rules you could figure out through rationality. Second, they armed themselves with critical analysis, which basically meant questioning everything. And third, they really pioneered the study of man, shifting the whole focus from the heavens down to us, placing human beings right at the center of it all. And Socrates, man, he just captured this spirit perfectly. For the Greeks, the unexamined life wasn't just, a boring life. It was barely human at all. To be a real person, you had to constantly question and analyze everything using your reason. This wasn't just a new idea, it was a total rejection of just accepting the world the way it's handed to you.
Okay, so you've got this incredible new toolkit of reason and questioning. Where do you go to test it out? You need a lab, right? And for the Greeks, that laboratory was the polis, the city-state.
The polis was everything to the Greeks. And don't just think of it as a city. It was way more like a tight-knit community. Because they were small, citizens could literally participate directly in the government. The connection between an average person and their state was so direct, so personal, it's almost hard for us to even imagine today. It really makes you wonder what the right size is for a real political community. So when Aristotle said that man is a political animal, he wasn't just saying we like to hang out in groups. No, his point was much, much deeper. He was arguing that to be fully human, to reach your absolute highest potential, you had to be an active part of the political life of your polis. It's how you became the best version of yourself. And this gets to a really core difference in how they saw the world. For the Greeks, there wasn't a clean line separating your personal life from your public duty. Your ethics were your politics. The whole point of the state wasn't just to, manage things. It was to help create a good, moral society. And your job as a citizen was to work towards that common good. Okay, so we've got this beautiful, inspiring blueprint. But now we get to part three, and we have to ask the tough question. How well did they actually build it? Because while the ideas were truly groundbreaking, the reality on the ground, well, it was a lot more complicated, and honestly, pretty troubling. The Athenians especially, they were so proud of the society they were creating. They talked all the time about equality between citizens, about living in harmony, about this incredible sense of freedom under the law. I mean, that was the grand vision. And here's the kicker, the question that exposes the massive contradiction at the heart of their system. Because that amazing ideal of equality and freedom, it was for members of a very, very exclusive club. So on the one hand, you have this ideal of harmony, of everyone working together, but the reality? Plato himself had to admit that every city was basically split into two, a city of the rich and a city of the poor. That promise of equality just didn't apply to everyone. For most people, the reality was deep, bitter division. So who was left out of this amazing club? Well, pretty much everyone else. Slaves whose backbreaking labor the entire society depended on had zero rights. And what's truly shocking is that even a genius like Aristotle argued that slavery was just natural. Women were seen as inferior, completely shut out of political life. And of course, if you're a foreigner, you could live there, but you never get the rights of a citizen. And that brings us to our final part. Given all of these huge, undeniable flaws, why do we still talk about this blueprint? Why does this system built on so much exclusion still form the bedrock of our own political world? Well, the answer really is that for all their failures, their genuine belief in a new method, in discussion, in persuasion, in reason, made them the originators of political philosophy as we know it. They were the first people to truly believe that you could shape and improve society not through force or divine command, but through human reason and debate. To put it really simply, their ideas are the bedrock on which our superstructure was installed. Every single political theory that came later in the Western world, whether it was trying to build on their ideas or tear them down, had to start by dealing with the questions the Greeks first asked.
I mean, just think about it. The very idea of democracy, that's from them. The importance of civic duty, the value we place on public debate and reason, that's all a direct inheritance. But you know what? So are the problems. That constant tension between what an individual wants and what the state needs, and maybe most importantly, that ongoing fight over who really gets to be counted as an equal member of society, that conversation didn't start yesterday. It started in Athens.
And so, that's the question I want to leave you with. When you look at our own societies today, with all of our incredible achievements and all of our glaring contradictions, how much of our world is still being built on this ancient, brilliant, and deeply, deeply imperfect blueprint?